All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you and welcome to the January 12th Commissioners meeting, regular Commissioners meeting. We will start with a roll call. Larry, would you please call the roll?
Certainly will. Mr. D'Amelio? Here. Mrs. Hall?
Here.
Mr. Siegel?
Here.
Mr. Heilman?
Here.
And Commissioner Holmes, is it stuck in Washington?
You're stuck
Will
in
not be?
Washington this evening. Will not be able to attend the meeting.
Okay. Mr. McGarity? Here. Mr. Wexler? Here. Mr. Connell?
Here.
And Mr. Lewis.
Here. Chief, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and now you can stay standing for the
Sorry.
for the opening prayer with Reverend Mary Jane Kirby from United Methodist Church.
All right, thank you. And friends, let us pray. Gracious God, we are thankful for the blessings of your loving grace in this new year and all the blessings that you have placed upon Haverford Township through leaders who are willing to listen and hear and serve in a way which honors you, Lord. We just pray for your blessing, Holy Spirit, to guide this meeting tonight. We pray in thanks for all those who serve, those that are here in this capacity, the police officers, those who respond to emergencies, the firemen, for those who are involved in every avenue and aspect of the life of this community. We pray for your guidance and your blessing, and for the many citizens, just that we may know your grace and your peace and your love. Bless all that happens now to your honor and glory. Thank you, Lord. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Reverend. Now we have the Township Auditor update. Is Gary here?
No,
You're doing
I'm Gary for the night, yes.
Dan will be playing Gary,
A lot shorter,
like a soap
but,
opera.
about a head shorter, but other than that. No, Gary is not able to attend tonight and had sent an email indicating that he had reviewed the list of disbursements, had some questions which were answered to his satisfaction, and that there were no irregularities in the disbursements for the period in question.
Thank you, Commissioner Siegel. And thank Gary for us. And we will start with Citizens Forum, 20 minutes registered speakers. And we will start with Dr. Levin. Would you like to come up? Please keep it to 3 minutes. We have a long agenda this evening. I did Dr. Levin first because I don't see anybody from. Gotcha.
I wish to address with you tonight an issue that is related to all of the projects for which you have had stormwater interest. And I wish to point out to you one thing in connection with the stormwater proposal for those poor folk down in Woodmere Park, which is in a bowl-shaped depression. I passed out to you a page which includes a map on the first page, and this map is of the watershed that is the Woodmere Park watershed, so-called, or Oakmont Woodmere Park. I don't know if it's been given a name. The watershed is basically an area enclosed within which, if a drop of water falls on the edge of it, it will be split in half, and half will go into this watershed and half will go into another. The folks who are complaining of flooding lie at the deepest part of the watershed. The area that I bounded with a dark black line is the area that it is proposed to retain the floodwaters in some way by sending it down Mill Road, putting a collector, possibly from the high school, down Mill Road. Why is it necessary to do that? It's necessary because there is not restricted access, there is restricted access to Cobb's Creek, into which stormwater flows under the bridge, not through the embankments that I know of, that would serve this watershed. So effectively, the $1.7 to $1.8 million is viewed as money which would be spent to contain the waters from this small segment, which probably does not experience flooding. There are interesting characteristics connected with this smaller area. One of them is that it's a hill and valley area. The hill is close to Earlington Road, and it grades off, so if you were standing in front of the high school entrance looking towards Strathmore Road, it would almost be level. Therefore, the majority of rainfall would come down that hill. Now, on the second page, I reference the fact that drainage systems which are put in normally meet two characteristics with a combination of those. May I have permission to finish, please?
I'm gonna give you another 3 minutes, okay?
Thank you.
Then we're gonna have to
In
go.
the first place, surface drainage systems in less densely populated areas are ditch and swale on top of the ground, culverts, or in natural areas. In urbanized and overbuilt areas, similar in many ways to the Woodmere Park area, it's pipe inlet, catch basins, and manholes in a closed system. There are combinations of the two that are proposed for Woodmere Park. To be safe, you want water to flow away from the buildings. You want it to be economical, and that's why you keep water on the surface of the ground as long as possible. You have to consider the possibilities of ice, leaves and debris, and aging facilities. You have to determine which design criteria are set by code, including the governmental agency, yourselves, the storm intensity, the duration, the time of year, and the allowable runoff. There are formulas for doing this. One of the formulas is the rational formula, as I pointed out to you last week, where you determine flows in cubic feet per second. The second is the Manning formula, where you're determining velocity. You compare the values that you get from the rational formula with the results of the Manning formula, and if one does not exceed the other, then you have an okay. In this area of Woodmere Park, I don't believe that you can come up with either of those accurately. We need a report from this area. It is true. If somebody's going to leave their wives at home, then they have to know that something is being done. To be done, it would be a report. The existing easement has to be determined. The above-ground swale or ditch lined has to be determined. Detention basin has to be repaired or replaced, if there is one. If not, then the sewer inlets have to be modernized. It's more than just raising the opening an inch or two. Test borings have to be done. There are no test borings that I know of within the Woodmere Park area. We don't know how close the bedrock is to the surface, or whether it's saprolite, or whether the soil is channery, meaning that it has unweathered rock material. We need historical records, we need maps, photographs, records, including climatic reports. That is the substance of a report on this that would get action. Otherwise, you're throwing money away on it. The same thing is true of the other areas which you said, give us a report. What has been given does not include any of those. I ask you to review this, knowing what these now mean, and ask for the Manning formula, the rational formula, and a full-fledged report. There are engineers among you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Please, use them to your fullest extent. I believe an engineering degree is still given from West Point. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Now, no one else is here from who signed in, I don't see, for the citizens forum. So we'll move on to the agenda items. Anyone on the left side of the room, first row, would like to speak on any agenda items? Second row? I'm sorry, on agenda items. Yeah. That's at the end of the meeting. Yeah, okay. Third row, Mrs. Pfeiffer.
Good evening, Commissioners, and Happy New Year. I'm here to speak to the agenda item of appointments, specifically the open appointment to the Zoning Hearing Board. For those in the audience who are unaware, the Zoning Hearing Board is made up of 5 members, each of whom is appointed to a 5-year term. One person is appointed or reappointed each year. The Commissioners appoint these individuals, yet Commissioners do not instruct or inform their decisions. By design, zoning hearing boards are freestanding, independent, quasi-judicial entities. I am asking you to make a change, to add a new member to the board and not reappoint a current member to a 5-year term. I do this based on the behavior and actions of the zoning hearing board as related to the Walgreens variance decisions, and because change is needed. Adding new people with different experience and perspective to any task group inhibits insular, old ways of work. The ultimate decision of the zoning hearing board to grant Walgreens variances was a real kick in the teeth to this community. Zoning hearing board members raised some relevant questions and simply ignored others. Even before public testimony, each member individually raised issues of safety, traffic flow, the alley, whether or not Walgreens had created self-imposed restrictions. Each time, Walgreens came back with the wrong answer. They neither asserted nor proved any hardship. Clearly, from the first night of testimony, there were more than enough red flags to say no. The public, in later testimony, articulated additional legitimate reasons for the zoning hearing board to deny the variances. These issues included violations of property rights, the comprehensive plan, and township regulations for properties along alleys. In my mind, any prudent person would have said no. Walgreens should have been the party to appeal the decision to the court. That is not what happened. Walgreens was granted its variances, and I as an individual, and you as the township, were forced into a costly appeal of the zoning hearing board's bad decision. While change at times may not be easy, change is healthy. Continually reappointing people to multiple 5-year terms is scary. It feeds an image of lords of the manor, all powerful and untouchable. New blood is essential for long-term success, and success is what we want. We need development which blends securely into a comprehensive plan and which always safeguards the best interests of the community. I ask you to appoint someone new. Thank you.
Tony, I didn't see you back there. Did you want to speak?
101 10B is not on
The agenda?
docket for today. We'll cede my time to somebody else.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure, because you are on for citizens forum. I didn't see you in the audience.
I was wearing a hat when I walked in.
Ah, okay, that's it.
My incognito.
All right. Anyone else on this side? Sir, please.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Arlie Helfer. I live on Campbell Avenue, several houses down from the Grimes Center. And I understand that the hearing's been continued for another month on the rezoning. But I had a question about the proposed draft ordinance. I was unable to find it advertised. I didn't see it in the newspaper because I don't get that newspaper. I looked for it online, and the only electronic source appears to say that the advertisement had expired as of by today when I went to look for it. But looking at the proposed ordinance in the agenda, I was concerned that there's a blank in the space where the proposed zoning for the Grimes Center and the adjacent parcel would be addressed. in part, I'm concerned about that because if that's to be filled in following a hearing, I don't know how it could be voted on at the same meeting. Once it's filled in, I would expect that's a substantive amendment of a proposed ordinance and would have to be advertised yet again to give proper notice to people of what exact zoning would be suggested on that property. So that was the extent of my comment.
Okay.
Mr. Helper, what's your address on Campbell?
410.
410, thank you.
Anyone else on that side? And we'll answer your question with the rest of them. Okay. Anybody on this side? Come on up.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Gene Kelly. I am the owner of Brendan's Collision in Havertown. My business is presently one of the 2 impound yards of Haverford Township and has been since 1983. This towing income is very significant to my business, and I would like your consideration in keeping things as the same as they are now, with no changes. It stands now, you have 3 businesses that benefit from the towing. Thank you for your consideration and keeping Brendan's as an impound yard.
Okay. Anyone else in this row? Second row? Third row? And the fourth row. Okay. There being no one else, we could, Jim, you want to talk about the question that was raised by
With
this gentleman?
respect to the,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, I guess it's a point that I'll look into before the next hearing. I know that the advertisement was done in the alternative, and, you know, the idea was for the agenda item, just to place in the, whichever one was chosen. I mean, whether we need to put a listing in the formal agenda that says, you know, R4, and then that one either gets voted down or up, and then R6, and that one either gets voted up or down. I'm not sure that that's necessary, but I do appreciate you bringing it up, and I'll look into it.
Okay. And we'll add that to the agenda, whichever way he decides we should go on that. Dave, did you want to talk about?
No, I don't think you should talk about it. You're talking about
Yeah.
for Dr. Levin? Yeah. Dr. Levin and I have had some discussions. He's gotten some open records requests. And Mr. Pannoni will provide this entire board, including myself, a formal report, which will have all the mathematical information, the maps, et cetera, everything that Dr. Levin has discussed. Once this study is complete 100%, and we present to this board a recommendation to have this work done. That is not, we're not to that extent as of yet.
Go ahead. Stand up here.
No, we have. We gave the board alternatives on how to address the flooding issue. If the board decides they want to progress to the next level, those calculations that we've done to support that report will be finalized and provided, frankly, to anybody who wants them as part of the whole process. While this board is deliberating on how they want to proceed, we've given clear, concise technical information on what the alternatives are to address those issues. They have, of course, they have technical merit backing them up.
Okay. Thank you, Dave. All right. That's it, right?
Yeah, and Mr. Kelly's just more of a statement rather than a question. Regarding the impound yard, that'll decide.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So we're looking at that on the agenda, and we'll vote on that this evening. Okay? Your speaking is duly noted. Thank you. All right, number 4, approval of minutes.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of December 8th, 2014.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Mr. D'Amelio?
Yes?
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Siegel?
Yes.
Mr. Heilman?
Yes.
Mr. McGarity?
Yes.
Mr. Wexler?
Yes.
Mr. Connell?
Yes.
And Mr. Oliva?
Yes. Number 5, approval of warrants.
Okay, the approval warrants, motion to approve the following warrant 1-2015 totaling $4,013,939.42, excuse me, 42 cents. General and Sewer Fund warrant for December 4, 2014 in the amount of $918,491.94. General and Sewer Fund payroll for December 18, 2014, $649,434.38. General and Sewer Fund payroll for January 2nd, 2015 in the amount of $713,464.18. General Fund disbursements 1-2015 in the amount of $1,202,922.72. Sewer Fund disbursements 1-2015 in the amount of $308,721.55. Community Development Block Grant Fund disbursement 1-2015 in the amount of $139,002.51. Home Grant Fund 1-2015 in the amount of $15,181.86. Capital Projects Fund disbursement I-1-2015 in the amount of $63,102.46. Credit card statement ending December 6, 2014 in the amount of $3,617.82.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. D'Amelio?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Siegel?
Yes.
Mr. Heilman?
Yes.
Mr. McGarity?
Yes.
Mr. Wexler?
Yes.
Mr. Connell?
Yes.
Mr. Leo?
Yes. Number 6, ordinance number P16, 2014. Commissioner Hall, you want to table this?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to table this ordinance number P16, 2014.
I think it has to be on the agenda. I think we have to move it and then table it. I don't think you can table it before.
Oh, yeah, we got to move it for, I'm sorry.
Oh,
We can move it first and then table it. Commissioner Siegel is correct. Would you like to move the motion?
Yeah, I'd
Okay.
like to, I'd like to move the motion to table the zoning map amendment ordinance number.
No, you have to read the motion first.
Read the whole thing
You have to read
first?
the whole thing
Oh, you want me
first.
to read it? Okay. Motion to adopt the first reading of ordinance number P16, 2014, amending and supplementing the general laws of the Township of Haverford, Chapter 182, zoning, by reclassifying the zoning classification of certain properties known as Delaware County folio numbers 22-02-00651-00, 22-02-00652-00, 22-02-00653-00, 22-02-00708-00, 22-02-00707-00, 22-02-00706-00, and 22-02-00705-00 from the institutional district to R4 low to medium density residential district. Delaware County folio number 22-02-00650-01 from institutional district to ROS outdoor recreation and open space district. Delaware County folio number 22-03-00264-00 and 22-03-0026500 from institutional to institutional district 2 blank residential district, and Delaware County folio number 22-03-00958-10 from R5 residential district to ROS outdoor recreational and open space district.
Second.
I'm sorry, could you read that again?
I read it last month and this month.
Everything under motion, that's all.
Well, I think since the hearing was continued, this is kind of a moot point.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah,
It
we're
It just should
gonna-
be removed from the
Yes,
agenda.
just remove.
Not even a table. It wasn't completed. We don't have the information to even vote on it, so.
The table, though. don't
Off
we?
the table.
Off the table.
Table.
It's on the agenda.
Motion to table. ordinance.
Second, okay.
Motion to table and seconded.
The Grimes Center.
The area near the Grimes Center.
It's a Grimes Center, and it's part of, in Lanark, where residential, where some of the houses were incorrectly put into institutional when they should be residential, obviously, because they're, but it was a map error. It was a map error that was done. So we're putting them back correctly into their residential from institutional. Okay?
We have a second.
Okay, please call the roll.
Mr. D'Amelio?
Yes, to table?
Mrs. Hall?
Yes to table.
Mr. Siegel?
Yes to table.
Mr. Heilman?
Yes, table.
Mr. McGarry?
Yes, the table.
Mr. Wexler?
Yes.
And Mr. Connell? Mr. Leo?
Yes. Number 7, ordinance number P25, 2014.
Mr. President.
Commissioner Siegel?
Motion to adopt
2015, I'm sorry. That is incorrect. It's 14 on mine.
because that was from last year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, so it is
It's
14. Yeah, it's not for,
That's a carryover.
I was right.
You were right.
Okay. I was right.
Motion to adopt the second reading of ordinance number P25, 2014 by further amending and supplementing Chapter 4 Administration of Government to establish 7 p.m. on the second Monday of each month as the regular meeting time of the Board of Commissioners, Haverford Township, under Section 4-203B of the Code.
Any second?
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. We've discussed this at our work session, and this is a second reading, so any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. D'Amelio.
Yes.
Mrs. Hall.
Yes.
Mr. Siegel.
Yes.
Mr. Heilman.
Yes.
Mr. McGarry.
No.
Mr. Wexler.
Yes.
No.
And Mr. Oliva.
Yes.
Water.
Number 7, ordinance number P2, 2015.
Mr. President,
Commissioner Hall?
motion to adopt the first reading of ordinance number P2-2015, authorizing traffic restrictions on the following highways. Sticker parking only, current, the entire length of Thompson Drive on both sides from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. Amendment, the sticker parking will begin 130 feet north of Campbell Avenue on the east side and conclude 100 feet north of Campbell Avenue on the west side.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? There being none, please call the roll.
Mr. D'Amelio.
Yes.
Mrs. Hall.
Yes.
Mr. Siegel.
Yes.
Mr. Heilman.
Yes.
Mr. McGarry.
Yes.
Mr. Wexler.
Yes.
Mr. Connell.
Yes.
And Mr. Oliva.
Yes, resolution number 8, resolution number 1961, 2015.
Make a motion to adopt resolution number 1961, 2015, in accordance with the Municipal Records Manual, authorizing the disposition of certain financial records.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. D'Amelio.
Yes.
Mrs. Hall.
Yes.
Mr. Siegel.
Yes.
Mr. Heilman.
Yes.
Mr. McGarry.
Yes.
Mr. Wexler.
Yes.
Mr. Connell. Mr. Oliva.
Yes. Number 9, resolution number 1962, 2015.
Adopt resolution 1962, 2015, authorizing the issuance of procurement card through the Pennsylvania Local Government Investment Trust.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? There being none, please call the roll.
Mr. D'Amelio.
Yes.
Mrs. Hall.
Yes.
Mr. Siegel.
Yes.
Mr. Heilman.
Yes.
Mr. McGarry.
Yes.
Mr. Wexler.
Yes.
Mr. Connell.
Yes.
And Mr. Oliva.
Yes. Number 10, resolution number 1963, 2015.
Mr. President.
Commissioner Siegel.
Motion to adopt resolution number 1963-2015, approving amendments made to the Haverford Township emergency procedures.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. D'Amelio.
Yes.
Mrs. Hall.
Yes.
Mr. Siegel.
Yes.
Mr. Heilman.
Yes.
Mr. McGarry.
Yes.
Mr. Wexler.
Yes.
Mr. Connell.
Yes.
And Mr. Oliva.
Yes. Number 11, contracts.
Mr. Chairman, like to make a motion to authorize the Haverford Township Police Department to enter into contracts for the removal and impounding of disabled or illegally parked vehicles. Duty Tow, Bob and Joe's, 100 North Eagle Road, Havertown, PA, 19083, and KNS, 1375 Lawrence Road, Havertown, PA, 19083. Can we do the impound too?
Yeah, it's all one.
Yeah, it's all
Impound Yard, Direct Paint and Collision, 1000 North Eagle Road, Havertown, PA, 19083, and Havertown Collision, 1375 Lawrence Road, Havertown, PA, 19083.
Second.
On the first one, Steve, you said 100, it's 1,000, okay? On the Bob and Joe's?
Oh, did I say, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
1000 North Eagle Road.
answer your question. The chief is going to speak on the impound yards.
Before he does, I have a recusal statement. I cannot vote on this, so if we could just have that part of the record. I'll recuse myself from
Give
any.
a moment for Commissioner Siegel.
I'm going to stay.
Oh,
but
okay,
I'm
he's gonna
just not
stay.
going to vote.
Thank you. I'd just like to bring you up to date. After proper advertisement, Haverford Township Police received 2 applications for duty tow and 3 applications for impound yard operators. All the applicants met the requirements as set forth in the ordinance. The applicants were the duty tow, Bob and Joe's Towing, 1000 North Eagle Road, who also owns the impound yard, Direct Paint and Collision, same address, 1000 North Eagle Road. For duty tow, K&S Towing, 1375 Lawrence Road, who also owns the impound yard, Havertown Collision, at 1375 Lawrence Road. The standalone impound yard is Brendan's Collision, 210 West Hillcrest Avenue, who does not have a tow service. Historically, the township has always awarded the towing and impound to 2 separate towers and 2 separate impound yards, which alternated towing every other month. Prior to this year, Bob and Joe's Towing and Direct Paint and Collision, the impound, were awarded 1/2 of the tow impound contract. And as stated, they are both owned by the same company and are located at the same location. The other half of the award was K&S for the towing and Brendan's Collision for the impound, who are 2 separate businesses at 2 different locations. This year presents the first year that we could have both towers tow a car and impound it in their own private lots. Benefits of having a tow company and an impound yard under the same ownership and location is consistency in the care, in the chain of custody, and in the control of the vehicles from the time of the tow to its actual release. From a police standpoint, it's a sound decision to have the tower and the impound together. From a person who gets their car towed, it's a matter of convenience. I must say that Brendan's Collision has provided this service for a number of years, and I would have recommended them if things have remained unchanged. Unfortunately, now that we can bring together a connection of both the towers with their own impound lots, I think it just makes a lot of sense to go that way. That's why the police department recommended Bob and Joe's and K&S for towing, Direct Paint and Collision, and Havertown Collision for the impound.
I agree with the chief. I have met with the chief and support his decision and his staff.
Okay.
So these are the only 2 that were.
Well, you could,
Yeah.
yeah. You could substitute Brendan's if you wanted to for one of them, correct? Or no? Or just, if somebody wanted to, as they were voting, they could substitute somebody else?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can make a recommendation whenever you want.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
You can't,
You have to amend the
sorry.
motion.
you have to amend the motion,
Yeah,
right?
you'd have to amend the motion to include that.
Oh,
Am
to
I
include
correct?
Brendan's.
Or you could read this and vote it down.
Well, the only thing I will add is this board knows I continually look for ways to improve services for the community. I think my record speaks for itself, and some of the new initiatives, from composting to brine to you name it, we've done some miraculous things here in the last few years. I have been working on a business model. We're probably a year off, and we've been sending some of our police officers away for training. So I would say probably this time next year, I'll be presenting a business model if it shows feasible, which I believe it will, that we will be doing our own impound yard and our own tow service within the community. I mean, within the township. It'll be a township program. So, but that's a year off.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay. Please call the roll.
Mr. D'Amelio.
Yes.
Mrs. Hall.
Yes.
Mr. Siegel.
I'm recused.
Yeah. Sorry.
Sorry about that, Dan.
That's it.
Mr. Hyman.
Yes.
Mr. McGarity.
Yes.
Mr. Wexler.
Yes.
Mr. Connell.
No.
And Mr. Oliva.
No.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the purchase of one 2015 Ford Super Duty F-550 dump truck with Western plow and salt spreader from Hondru Fleet, Manheim, PA, under PA CoStar's contract number 25 in the amount of $73,662.37.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Please call roll.
I'm sorry, who seconded that?
Jane.
Jane, thank you, Mrs. Hall. Mr. D'Amelio?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Siegel?
Yes.
Mr. Heilman?
Yes.
Mr. McGarity?
Yes.
Mr. Wexler?
Yes.
Mr. Connell?
Yes.
Mr. Leo?
Yes. All right, two appointments.
Great, now I got it.
Now I got it. Sorry, man.
Hold on,
I tried to
hold on
be
one
off
second.
that way for you.
So we'll go through what wasn't appointed.
We're gonna start with the environmental advisor.
Yep, yeah. So,
Well, he's done.
okay, Ward number 3.
I do not have anyone at this time. I'm in the midst of two people,
Defer.
so I will defer.
I'm going to defer till next month also.
Okay. Larry's not here, so he's going to defer also. And
Patricia Loomer,
Okay.
Pilgrim Lane.
Loomer?
Loomer, L-O-O-M-E-R.
Thank you, Mr. Wexler.
okay, Friends of the Grange.
Okay. The first one is a reappointment of Donna Milius, who has been on the Grange, and she wasn't going to come back, but then she decided she wanted to come back. So I'd like to reappoint her for a one-year term expiring December 31st, 2015.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Please call roll.
Mr. D'Amelio?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Siegel?
Yes.
Mr. Heilman?
Yes.
Mr. McGarity? Yes. Mr. Wexler?
Yes.
Mr. Connell?
Yes.
And Mr. Leo?
Yes.
And my second appointment for the Grange is to appoint my good friend, Connor F. Quinn, who has his resume right here, to serve in the Friends of the Grange for a term of 1 year to expire December 31st, 2015.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. Please call roll.
Mr. D'Amelio?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Siegel?
Yes.
Mr. Heilman?
Yes.
Mr. McGarity?
Yes.
Mr. Wexler?
Yes.
Mr. Connell?
Yes.
And Mr. Leo?
Yes, the Historic Commission.
Mr. President, I'd like to appoint Roy Ingrafia to serve on the Historical Commission for 4-year term to expire on December 31st, 2018.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All right, please call roll.
Mr. D'Amelio?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Siegel?
Yes.
Mr. Heilman?
Yes.
Mr. McGarity?
Yes.
Mr. Wexler?
Yes.
Mr. Connell?
Yes.
Mr. Leo?
Yes. And for the second one,
Well, you know what, there's a gentleman that has an application in. He actually has in for 3 boards, appointment to Historical Ice Rink or Shade Tree. And Mr. McGarity, that's
Yeah, he's
Mr.
at
Beely?
688 Washington.
So he could either go,
Okay.
This is, I presume, someone we haven't interviewed.
Yeah, this is Mr. Bielli, and
through all the applications that came in
Right.
for,
I understand.
what?
this came in today,
Right.
all right, do
January
we want
12th. If you want to, if you don't,
to table it and then we'll re-advertise? Is that what you want to do? I'm looking at you, Dan.
Well, it's just that, we had a lengthy discussion last month about the need to interview and vet resumes, and then tonight it seems that discussion is moot. I mean, I don't know this person, I can't say good, bad, or anything else about him or whatever, but it just seems like
he wants to
there's
be involved.
an inherent inconsistency in our arguments here, or in our positions.
I'm sorry.
I would motion to table this particular appointment. I have not seen anything either.
Okay, no, we can table the appointment.
Yeah.
What, Commissioner,
well, there isn't a motion on the table right now, is
No.
there? No.
I mean, we can motion to table this one.
Seat.
It wasn't an inconsistency all,
Mr. Connell.
Commissioner Connell, I was going to say Chris, all Commissioner Connell was trying to bring up is that there is somebody, if we'd like to put him in, if you want to interview him, we'll go through the process again.
Or at
That's
least
fine.
have a chance to review.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to
But
see
we
the
have to,
paperwork.
like, are we going to stick by this process or are we not?
It seems
All right,
situational.
Okay. All right, let's, so we're going to table that. Please
Mm-hmm.
table. Chris, you want to call for?
To vote the table.
Okay, vote the table, you're going to put that up?
Yeah.
Second?
All right, let's,
Aye.
all right, we could do by voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone against? There being none, table passes. Ice Rink Advisory Board.
Okay, again, we have a gentleman that has a letter of interest in with the resume for the Ice Rink Advisory Board, Charles McGarvey Sr., to fill the unexpired 3-year term on the Ice Rink Advisory Board.
Does anybody have an
Second.
issue with that, or?
I know,
Do you wanna-
I know Chief McGarvey very well. I mean, I
Yeah.
have an issue, but
I'll
We've
second
had
it.
some time to his resume came in a few
It-
days ago.
Yeah.
It
So,
did, and
yeah.
I did see that.
And I did see that
Okay,
one.
everybody's okay with that?
probably going to be he'll be at the stadium anyway,
Right.
between his two kids, so.
So then I'd like to make a motion then to appoint
Second.
Let him read it.
Okay, well, you said the,
Charles
Mr.
McGarvey
McGarvey.
Sr.
yeah.
to fill the unexpired 3-year term on the Ice Rink Advisory Board to expire December 2015.
Second?
And just so you know, this is filling an unexpired term. It'll be for this 1 year, for 2015, okay?
So it's 1 year.
It's 3
Well,
years.
it's a 3-year
It's an unexpired term.
It
I
has
hear
1 year
you.
to go.
Yeah,
He's going
okay.
to finish it out.
Okay.
Okay. Any more discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. D'Amelio?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Siegel?
Yes.
Mr. Heilman?
Yes.
Mr. McGar?
Yes.
Mr. McGarity? Mr. Wexler?
Yes.
Mr. Connell?
Yes.
And Mr. Liu?
Yes. Senior Citizens Advisory Board, Ward 1.
Mr. Chairman, can I table this until March? I'm having a meeting in February, so I should have an idea.
Okay.
First meeting in March.
I have the same issue. I can't find anybody
Who will say they're old
to be
enough.
old enough, or those that are don't have enough time to do it. So I can't wait till I retire.
Actually, mine I'm waiting to hear back from. They were supposed to be back to me tonight, but they didn't.
Okay, so
Okay, hold it, Mario. Joan Coogan in the 7th Ward.
Joan Coogan in the 7th Ward, and that's all we have. Okay.
And that other, so everyone else is a defer, right?
Yes.
And then you have Zoning Hearing Board.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to reappoint Robert Kane to the Zoning Hearing Board for a term of 5 years to expire on December 31st, 2019.
Second.
Motion made and seconded.
Mr. President, motion to appoint David Channon to the Zoning Hearing Board for a term of 5 years to expire December 31st, 2019.
Okay. A second? We have a second on that?
I'll second it just to.
Okay.
Mr. President, may I speak?
Yeah, sure.
We had a comment tonight from Mrs. Pfeiffer concerning the Zoning Hearing Board. Over the last few months, particularly after our votes on the issue of televising the Zoning Hearing Board, I have been addressing and trying to deal with concerns I have over the Zoning Hearing Board that I've expressed intermittently over the past few years. And while this nomination just happens to be coming up at the time where I want to speak, and I've addressed this a bit with our council as well, but I would ask that regardless of what happens on this vote, that we empower Mr. Byrne to speak with whomever is appointed as solicitor to the Zoning Hearing Board to address what I believe are significant irregularities in the way the Zoning Hearing Board is operated. In particular, under Pennsylvania's right to know and open records law, the Zoning Hearing Board is a local agency that is required to take certain actions. They are required under state law to publish agendas and minutes. The Zoning Hearing Board does not publish written minutes of its actions, and I have received numerous complaints concerning that. We publish minutes, they are approved. A recorded stenographic record or a taped filmed record or anything else does not qualify under Pennsylvania law. In that sense, I believe that the zoning hearing board must consider and address its actions. Similarly, this year, we had an appeal that was taken at the behest of this board from the sign decision of the zoning hearing board related to Premier Orthopedic. It raised a significant issue that I think this board has to at least be aware of, and I've addressed it with some of you. In particular, we appealed the decision of the zoning hearing board, and we were affirmed by the Court of Common Pleas in media. In other words, the decision of the zoning hearing board was reversed. According to the dockets as of today in the Commonwealth Court of Pennsylvania, the zoning hearing board voted to appeal, or they were the appellant in that case, which means they appealed that decision, and in fact they improperly appealed it to the Superior Court, and it was transferred to the Commonwealth Court. My concern with that is a decision to appeal such an action is a decision that requires a vote in an open meeting, just as our decision in direction to Mr. Byrne to appeal the underlying decision. I then searched, and there is no record of any agenda from the zoning hearing board where that matter was placed on the agenda, nor is there any record of any vote by the zoning hearing board to authorize that appeal, which places into question the validity of the appeal. There are other instances that I have seen over the past few years. As a result, regardless of this vote, because Mr. Kane is not the issue here, and I realize that his nomination, which has become volatile if anyone just watches these proceedings, is not my concern so much as the fact that the zoning hearing board is a critical adjudicative body within this township. Just look at the intensity of interest in the billboards, in the actions relating to Walgreens, and so many other neighborhood matters that may impact your ward, my ward, etc. As a result, it behooves this township, before we have any potential repercussions, to make certain that the zoning hearing board operates consistent with the right to know law, the sunshine law, and any other state laws overseeing its operations. I realize that I'm making this speech at the time of someone's nomination, and I regret that part of it, but I do not regret addressing this issue publicly because I think it's critical, and having watched the proceedings or seeing what's listed in Commonwealth Court, my concerns are significant that we make certain that all adjudicative bodies, which are primarily the zoning board and the planning commission, which does publish minutes, do so and act in accordance with all laws, just as we must do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I believe that's something.
Okay.
we need-
Chairman, I have no problem with Mr. Byrne reaching out to whomever it is.
I think he needs to. I think.
Yeah, I agree. I have no problem with that.
I concur. I agree.
You okay with reaching out to them and speaking about these issues
Okay, Mayor,
to us? All right.
call the roll.
Discussion? Please call a roll.
Mr. D'Amelio,
Mr. Kane?
Mrs. Hall,
Mr. Kane.
Mr. Siegel,
Mr. Shannon.
would be Mr. Hyman,
Abstain.
Mr. McGarity,
Mr. Robert Kane.
Mr. Wexler,
Mr. Kane.
Mr. Connell,
Mr. Kane?
and Mr. Lewis.
Robert Kane. Okay, now we have the,
Citizens Forum.
congratulations to Mr. Kane, and we will move on. Number 14, which is the continuation of the Citizens Forum for non-agenda items. We'll start on this side. I'm sorry, what?
13.
13.
I'm sorry.
14 is new business.
On the paper, it's 14, but on the-
Oh,
On the paper.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at this. I apologize.
Okay. Would you like, okay. We'll start on this side.
Good evening, my name is Maria Pardini. I live at 715 Nailers Run Road. And I just would like to say I'm a volunteer member of the Parks and Rec Board. And I would like to publicly thank our outgoing president, Rich Carrata, who was not reappointed to continue serving on this volunteer board. I just wanted to say that Rich has been an asset to this community and he served this township well. He has kept the board focused on the goals that, under the excellent leadership of Tim Denny, has helped Haverford Township maintain its ability to deliver exceptional recreational services to the residents of this township. And I also feel that it's been an honor to serve with Rich on the board. In addition, I would just like to add that I hope that when volunteers wish to keep serving their community and have done so in a very well and professional manner in the past, that they be granted the opportunity to continue to serve. Thank you and Happy New Year.
Thank you. Anybody in the next row? In the back? No? Okay. Anyone on this side? You already had your turn. Oh, not an agenda? Yeah, you can speak. I'm sorry.
Is there anybody else who wants to go before?
I'm going to hold you to 3 minutes.
Times have changed with regard to speaking out on topics, and I have two of them to bring to your attention. Have the commissioners given up making comments about their votes? Some have voted no on resolutions tonight without comment. I would like to hear the comments, not necessarily tonight, but in the future, regarding either a yes or a no vote. I believe that that is important in connection with the matters that you take up. Second, is there a reason that individuals do not have the ability to place something on video or on television in the meeting room? We know that there are such devices as memory sticks, which can preserve a PowerPoint image or two and make it come alive for the rest of the audience as well as for yourselves. Is there a way that you could work in a protocol to make this possible at the meeting? Because otherwise, we have to go to the expense individually of preparing the materials, as I did tonight and as I have done in the past, when much of this could be done on the video screen if it could be introduced. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Mario, can I just point out that Mr. Quinn's in the audience and he was appointed to the Friends of the Grange. If he wants to stand up and let everybody see who he is.
Yeah, there's
Hey, all right.
Connor.
Congratulations.
Stand up, Connor. There you go. All right.
Anyone in the second row? Third row? Fourth row? There being none, we'll move on to new business. I'm sorry, you can answer. Would you like to answer him?
Mr. Levin?
Yeah.
Dr. Levin?
Yeah.
Well, sure, I think the board normally does, I'm sorry, thank you. I think the board normally does make comments. Although this particular month, we didn't have a work session because it was a reorganizational. That's where most of the questions are answered to me, either myself or to my staff. Although,
And I believe Robert's Rules of Order, so you're not supposed to comment on your vote. Once there is discussion, we make our discussion. Once we call the vote, there is not supposed to be comment on that. All the commenting goes on in the discussion prior to the vote. So the commissioners have plenty of time to comment on their vote. Am I correct? Yeah.
and and then the other thing relating to the audiovisual, that this equipment was purchased actually for staff presentations. If, again, that decision's not mine, that decision would be the board, but if they start allowing the public to come in here and start utilizing the audio-visual equipment. We need an audio-visual person here all the time. And then I think the meetings will probably be back to 1, 2 o'clock in the morning again. But again, that decision will be up to the board, not me.
There's a protocol that you could follow, which would limit this.
Okay, you've had your 3 minutes. We've talked about it. We have to move on. We can't have you talk from the audience. New business. Anyone?
Yes.
Commissioner Hall?
I would like to ask the board if that we could address in the new year a couple of the items that we have kind of grappled with over this appointment period. And I'm not quite sure where we go or how we make it maybe a little bit smoother, and I know it's difficult. And what I would like to add to that is that we certainly appreciate everyone that contributes in this community. And we need people to contribute in this community. And in order for this community to move forward in a positive way, we all, I feel, as a board, need to take it on, and all the boards need to take it on, the responsibility of trying to reach out to people that we know in the community and bring them in. We have so many talented people. I believe that we can make this appointment and reappointment process maybe a little bit better. I'm not quite sure how yet, but I would ask the board if we could possibly visit that this year so that next year at this time, we are moving forward maybe in a little bit smoother. And I think if we all work together, we will have things in line.
I've discussed this with Dan, is
Okay.
putting together a protocol
Great.
that we're going to, and once that the Board of Commissioners will vote on the protocol, and so there's no question to the procedure and how we're going to handle those things and who's in and who's out. So there's no more arguments about what's going on. Dan's going to be working on that as part of his.
Yeah, I want to put something together for one of our work sessions. I just want to make a comment because there was a comment from the audience, and I think there can be a sort of a misperception by people. We're fortunate at times that we have lots of people who volunteer for committees. At times that means making difficult decisions when you have people who are both new and old, where unfortunately our boards are limited in space and a number of people who can participate. And at times it's like anything, when you have an election and you have two good people, sometimes one of those people is not going to be successful. And we had that this year on at least, one occasion in particular. So I don't want the public to think that, necessarily a vote for or for one over another means that we don't respect or value the service or commitment of people to the community. We need all of the people. It's just that there are limits. I've already received, as a response to my newsletter, multiple inquiries about taking Jan Marie's place on the Environmental Commission, and I've had, fortunately or unfortunately, multiple people who wanted to be on the Senior Citizens Committee. And you can only pick one, and it's not a reflection on the others. And I hope that people don't get that idea that we're necessarily saying one person isn't good or didn't serve or whatever, because they all have, and it's a commitment. We make a commitment, but the citizens who go to the committees make, I think, in some ways a bigger commitment because they're not at all compensated. And they're just giving to their community, and they're the value of what makes a community.
Great. Anything else on new business? All right, other business. Commissioner D'Amelio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank our police department for the great job that they do. I know the police throughout the country have taken some criticism, but I think we have a great police force, and I want to thank the police officers for everything that they do. They put their lives on the line every minute of every day, and they deserve a lot of credit for what they do. They had a tough situation a couple weeks ago, and my heart goes out to the police department and the family of the tragic event that took place a couple weeks ago. I also want to say that I know we are a local government, but my heart goes out to the people of France for what occurred there. That was totally unbelievable, and I was very surprised that the United States did not take a did not attend the peace rally. I was very disappointed in that, and I'm glad that our John Kerry, the
Secretary of State.
Secretary of State, I kept thinking state representative because local government is going to go. I think it's imperative that we show the people of France that the people of the United States care deeply about what occurred, and that certainly can happen here. It has happened here with 9/11. I just hope it doesn't happen again. So this is why we have a great police department and emergency services team, because God forbid if something ever happens, I think we have a great team to help us through it. So thank you.
All right. Commissioner Hall.
Actually, I was going to thank Chief Pettin and his team as well. I think they're outstanding, and I think they deserve great recognition by the board and by this community for everything they do every day. I would like to thank you, Chief, and for all your timely communication to all of us and everything that you do.
Commissioner Siegel.
Nothing, thank you.
Well, on to the police still. Today, a 25-year-old male flatlined in the township from an overdose. He was dead for a little while. The police came and showed up and gave him the shot of Narcan, which they now all carry, mainly thanks to Jim McCanns, who really led the fight to get police officers to carry the Narcan as well. Statewide, countywide. This was the second township residence that's been saved since the police started carrying the Narcan, and it's the 12th in the county this year. Well, not this year, but since they started carrying them. Speaking as somebody who had a nephew tragically die this summer, I wish the police had had them then too, as well. So anyway, thank you, Chief. Thanks, Chief McCanns, also.
All right.
That's it.
Thank you. Commissioner Connell.
No, nothing really, other than I appreciate all the services that the township does, and I look forward to serving the people of the community in 2015. And I look forward to hopefully a better year, only because January has started out pretty tough. So we have 11 more months to go.
I'm hoping the next 11. Commissioner McGarity.
Yes, I would just like to reiterate the Toys for Tots this year from all the different businesses and places where the baskets were put or the containers were put. We went out. We got a call from the IVN, and we went out. He had 101 toys that weren't picked up because they didn't know that he had his own box. So we went out to the Marine barracks to give him the 101, and the young Marine there said he couldn't believe how many cartons Haverford Township sends him out there. He said, we send more than just about anybody, and he was overjoyed with the 101 more that we got. So I just want to thank all the businesses for their participation in this, and all the people in the community who are giving these toys to help these kids out at for their Christmas and to enjoy it. And basically, I'll go on the bandwagon with everybody else about Chief Pettin. He's the leader of the pack, and he's leading it in the right direction. And that's all I can say. He's if you need him, he's there. Give him a call, and I guarantee you he'll get back to you immediately. Thank you.
Just to follow up, I'd like to offer my thanks to Mrs. Cagini, who takes the donations from several of the fire companies, goes out and shops for Toys for Tots. That creates a ton of those boxes too. So, Mrs. Cagini is Larry's administrative assistant, and Toys for Tots has been her passion for the last 15, 20 years. So, I'll also see all the residents of the 9th Ward on the 22nd at the Hilltop Civic Association, which is the quarterly meeting with the 9th Ward Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to mention Officer Mark Morenview, who is retiring this Friday after 26 years of service to this community. Our congratulations to him, and wish him a lot of luck, him and his family. Best wishes on their future. And I want to remind everyone there is a fundraiser for the trails. It's the Martini Lounge up at the Creek, Saturday the 17th of January. And if you want more information, you call Tom Kelly, 610-804-5054. And with that, I will entertain a
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.